want to get back into some market talk because looking at mortgage rates went up last week. We lost some pricing. Yeah. Looking at the reason why, there's a couple reasons why. The biggest of that goes to the right now the budget, and the budget ceiling that we're coming up against. June 1st, we're just a few days away from hitting the U.S. budget ceiling.
Can we let it burn?
We're pretty damn close. So anyways, but today actually looks like they're about to finalize something. And want to go over some part of the things that they're doing to get your thoughts. I think it's kind of interesting. So part of it too. So you remember hearing in the news how they hired all these IRS agents and they're trying to get more money and crack down on taxes.
That's why I stopped being a bookie.
Well, they lost. Yeah. They lost $10 billion in that. So they are now reevaluating that IRS funds and cutting those back because they just figured they lost $10 billion in salaries by hiring all those people.
Billion.
Yes.
Like 10 billion.
Yes. $10 billion.
What were they paying?
People, agents, all those agents.
Yeah, but what was the pay rate? $10 billion with a B? Like not million.
They have
I have a lisp, so it's hard to understand.
$10 billion deficit, yes.
It's not my fault I have a lisp. Oh. I have a weird bone growth in my mouth. It's weird. But anyways, long story short, I have a disability. So, Brooke, don't come at me. You're making fun of a disabled man.
They have an IRS has an $80 billion budget and is being, and only brought in 70 billion. And yeah.
Hold on. So you're telling me the people who make us pay taxes have a $80 billion budget. They had a $10 billion loss.
Yes. Just looking at some of these things that they're talking about now that they're finally releasing some of the actual talking points, it's almost comical.
What else? They should abolish the IRS. Get rid of it. Get rid of it and go to more of an electronic system where people, pay taxes through that and you can track it maybe through that. Not like electronic money, but like there's a way to get our technology to where we don't need all those IRS agents. And also they need to lower the tax rates on everybody. And if they do that, they would actually see an increase in tax revenue because more people would spend that money that they're not giving to the IRS and they would see it through a sales tax portion. There's a lot of different things that they should be doing that they're not. And it all starts with less taxes. What else were they talking about?
So there is still $30 billion sitting in a COVID aid fund that has still been unused. Just sitting there.
Wait, hold on. What?
There's $30 billion just sitting in an unused $30 billion sitting in a COVID 2019 aid fund still.
For what?
For, I don't know.
Because they're probably going to get sued.
Like it's just sitting there. Like
that makes no sense. So
as a business, like
that's 40 billion. Did they bring up all the money going to Ukraine?
They did not bring that up.
They should, because if you want to stop innocent people from dying, then you need to stop funding a war. At least that's
not
allowing innocent people to die. But
not that I've seen. They brought up energy credits, like energy reforms.
That needs to go too.
They brought up toughening the requirements to be able to cut back budgets for the TANF program, which is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families.
Stop. What is that one?
Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program.
Yeah, but what are they talking about doing with it?
Toughening the work requirements to be able to cut back on.
Yeah, you have to there's a lot of holes in a lot of those assistance programs where you need to make sure people are trying to work.
Right.
And I think we could do a whole podcast on that. What else?
They said it's not specifically food stamps or Medicaid, but it's work requirements is the hang up. To be able to.
Why would anybody not want people who are on an assistance program to try to find work? Like where's the hang up there? Like I'm not understanding.
And that needs to be a future podcast because I 100% agree. Like, and Donovan, because we tied this when you had an interview with us. So you can speak a lot to this as well. Like that is absolutely Like,
what would the holdup be when it comes to, because you've done a lot with this through school and everything else that you've been doing. Like, why would people disagree that there needs to be a work requirement or trying to get a job for those type with that type of program?
What program is this again?
It's TAFN. It's like Assistance for Needy Families.
Right. So, but we talked about something similar with the housing, housing like
Temporary housing.
Correct. Temporary housing, government assistant housing.
Yeah.
Like it's a great tool to get people in the right direction, but work with them, educate people.
Right.
Like, and that's why we do what we do, is about educating people, helping people get on the right track. Not everyone's made the best decisions. Do not hold that against them. Give them the help they need now, but also make sure that they are moving forward to be able to support themselves in the future. Because if not, like, where does it end?
I agree.
So you think that, like, and I'm just trying to get differences of opinions here. I wish there was somebody else on the podcast, because what would be a holdup when there's a work requirement to something like that? Like, I don't understand what the negotiation is. Is it length of time? Like, do you see what a holdup would be? What, like?
No, I don't actually know. Are they saying that they can't? Are you guys saying that they need to work in order to get the assistance?
Well, that's what. So this is for the debt ceiling, and this is the stuff that the Republicans and Democrats are negotiating to make sure that we don't default on our debt. And there's a holdup so the Democrat side doesn't like whatever is being proposed by the Republican side, saying that there has to be tougher requirements as far as trying to find work, from my understanding.
Oh yeah, no, I don't understand why they would say that.
I think if you talk to 99% of Americans, they would all say the same thing, right? Like,
right.
Like, hey, yeah, like, you need to get out of this eventually. Anything else in that bill?
Says non-defense discretionary spending in the next fiscal year.
Hold on. Repeat that. Non-defense discretionary spending.
Correct. In the next fiscal year would be below the current fiscal year's level. So they're agreeing that they have to cut it back.
Thank God.
But all discretionary spending, including defensive, would grow at 1%.
Oh, so we're not actually reducing the budget. They would grow it.
Correct. Just more goes towards defensive and military.
So funding war. Okay.